Beauty queens are very important figures in Philippine society. They're almost as important as politicians.
You know, in the Philippines, when you put a beauty queen and a politician in the room, people listen to the beauty queen.
There's a lot of debate around pageantry in the Philippines, but if there's one thing that everyone celebrates about it, it's the fact that it provides women a platform to succeed. For a lot of women, these pageants open doors for bigger opportunities in their life. But not all beauty queen stories are happy endings. For this queen turned actress, her life ended in tragedy. So I distinctly remember the story from my childhood because it was really sad. And I think it's a good time to talk about it right now because there are a lot of conversations happening in this country about divorce. Maria Teresa Carlson was regarded as one of the most beautiful faces on television during her heydays. During the 80s and the 90s, she was a household name in the Philippines for being part of a hit sitcom. I'd say she played a part in why in Philippine movies and TV, there's comedy when it comes to Filipino Americans and they can't speak Tagalog really well. So it's really sad to know that just as she was bringing so much joy to the Filipino audience, she was actually going through so much suffering herself. In 2001, I was very, very young when I heard the news that she had jumped to her death. Of course, it was shocking. There was this actress who just died, but I didn't really know the story behind it. The story of how she went from beauty queen to allegedly a battered housewife. Maria Teresa Carlson was born here, but moved to the United States and was raised there. But similar to many Filipino American stories, she moved back to the Philippines for some career opportunities. Back in the Philippines, she started to get some modeling jobs and landed in the world of pageantry. In 1979, she became Binibining Filipina's Young International, which gave her the opportunity to represent the Philippines and experience competing on a global stage. But more than that, her success in pageantry opened her up to a career in entertainment. She got popular because of her wit, her charm, and her natural comedic timing, but made her mark because of how she spoke broken Tagalog. Now, this went over really well with the Filipino audience that in 1980, she was able to star as the lead in a comedy movie. She would do a few more movies and would eventually get cast in the classic sitcom Chicks to Chicks in 1984. Now, the year before this, she actually got married. Through friends in show business, she was introduced to this politician and they hit it off. They said it was a whirlwind romance, and in 1983, they got married. Shortly after this, though, rumors of their marriage being less than perfect started to float around. Again, the husband was very active in politics at that time, and when it comes to campaigning, she always participated. But there were certain reports about just how it seemed like she was not being treated well. Like in a report from Sheila Coronel, who was then a reporter for the Manila Chronicle, she shared that the husband was sort of impatient and would sometimes yell at Maria Teresa. When he wanted her to hurry up, he would say, "Move faster or I will dump you." Men. There was also the story that a journalist, her name is Nini Valera, came to interview her one time at her home with her husband. That was in 1988, and the story goes that she actually slipped a note to this reporter, and the note said, "Please help me, I'm literally being tortured." The journalist also reportedly saw that Maria Teresa was heavily dabbing makeup on her chin to cover up cigarette burns. In the 90s, it was also reported that she would frequently call a hotline for women in distress, but wouldn't really share any information. and would sometimes just cry and then hang up abruptly. Like she was like mentally breaking down. That's what I discovered this whole thing. Like she asked for help. Di ba sabi, women ask for help. She fucking did that and no one helped her. That's how bad it is for women in this country. At one point, she even sent a letter to a sitting female senator saying she wanted to separate from her husband because she was experiencing abuse. And they did nothing. And they didn't help her.
God damn.
Then, she actually went on TV to open up about her situation. At that time, Maria Teresa was pregnant with her 6th child. In that interview, Maria Teresa accused her husband of domestic violence. There would be occasional slapping on the face, physical abuse, beatings. I was subjected to water torture. I had a gun at me and my mouth. I do not wish to embarrass him. I do not wish to humiliate him. I'm not out just for any money. I'm willing to give up everything. I just want my freedom and my independence. When I read that, it was like, oh my God.
No one did anything?
Yeah, no one helped her.
No.
But after having her baby, she went back on TV, this time together with her husband, for an interview. She took back everything she had said. They were together.
Of course you would take it back.
When I was also looking into this story, I wondered why she kept having children with this husband if she was undergoing abuse. And it broke my heart to learn that because she found that when she was pregnant, she would experience less abuse. Human rights activist and lawyer Evelyn Ursua said the abuse did not necessarily stop when she got pregnant, but they were lessened. Clearly, she's been through a lot at this point. And now that I learned more about this story, assuming all of the allegations were true, what happened to her, as tragic as it was, made sense. On November 23, 2001, the tragic events that led to the death of Maria Teresa started early in the day. Reports say that she was determined to seek help, and with her maid as her companion, she made her way to the Malacanang Palace. Now, her intention, they said, was to personally deliver a video to then-sitting President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo. People were saying that the video was kind of her proof that her husband was abusive and that she was going to use that to finally break free from the marriage. No one can really confirm what the video was really all about, but what was confirmed was that after the Malacanang, because she failed to actually meet with the president, on her way home, she was plagued with anxiety and fear. The maid reported that she had this sense of urgency because she felt like she was being chased, like she was being followed. Now, even before this day, there were also reports that, sometimes she would randomly send texts to her friends that, someone was following her, or that she would send texts like, the house is burning, even though it wasn't. This just goes to show how at this point, she was so mentally damaged. And for years, her husband did also accuse her of being mentally unstable for a long time. When she was home in her condominium, where she lived alone, except for her maid, the stories that were told was that she was incredibly anxious. She would board up windows. She would keep pacing because she felt like she was being watched. She would walk in and out of rooms. She was kind of being very erratic. Now, at one point during the night, the maid said that she had realized that she was not in the unit anymore, that she had probably gone out. And so the maid also stepped out of the unit, sought the help of the security guards of the condominium because she couldn't find her anywhere. At some point after midnight, people on the 3rd floor reported hearing a loud noise. And when the security guards came to check, it was her body. She had plunged to her death from the 23rd floor to the 3rd floor. It's no surprise that this tragedy, the loss of a once loved personality in Philippine media, became a big story. And it's pretty eye-opening because it did seem like multiple times she asked for help, and it didn't seem like she got the help that she needed. I'm sure people tried, Concerned citizens did have demonstrations after her death to call for the recognition of women's rights in this country. And people have said that the impact that her death has left was the creation of Republic Act 9262, or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act. To this day, this law has been instrumental in advancing women's rights, offering protection and legal recourse for victims of domestic violence. Now, there's one consistent thing about this story is that many sides of the aisle have confirmed that she does have mental health challenges. After her death, her husband did say that she was allegedly erratic, in the sense that she would be sweet one moment, but after a while she wouldn't be. He also said that there would just be clashes whenever she was around. One thing to note also is that conversations about mental health are more rampant today, because I think there is a really big link between domestic violence and mental health, especially when it comes to women. And adding to this, the recent approval of the divorce bill in the Philippines for its final reading does mark a significant change in the way this country approaches marriage. If turned into law, divorce would finally be legal and would provide an avenue for individuals trapped in abusive marriages to legally dissolve their unions. Thank you so much for getting this far and watching this video. I really just wanted to explore this story that had always been in my mind, because it's really a sad story for me to be a young child to hear about this, and now as an adult, especially in this climate in Philippine society, to know more about this woman's struggle. It's been a really eye-opening thing for me, and I hope it opened your eyes too. So feel free to leave comments below if you have anything to add, and subscribe to our channel, because we will be talking more about things like this. But for now, I gotta go, and I'll see you in our next video.